What's up, you guys? This is Steven, and I'm back with another photo analysis. This time I'll be analyzing the cover of Koda Kumi single entitled Kamen. And Kamen means mask or disguise in Japanese. And this is the 10th single of Koda Kumi's 12 singles in 12 weeks collection. And for this particular single, Koda Kumi is supposed to be representing the United States culture, specifically Hawaii, Hawaiian culture, as well as hula dancers. So, when I first look at this photo, I'm like, okay, she got some nice coloration there. I like that orange and red, that, the yellow, orange, red type of flow with it, or coloration, rather. I also, again, I like Koda Kumi, and I like the skin, like the makeup that they use to get that skin tone, or either the tanning or however she got it. Nevertheless, I like the skin tone. I like the hair as well, although I don't think that the blonde highlights were really necessary. I think that basic black would have really worked better. But Koda Kumi's trying to put her own little spin on it, so I'm like, all right, fair enough. The flowers, I think that if she had wore like that flower necklace, that would have been cool. I think they call it a lei. That would have been better than what the flowers that she has. The flowers that she has in this photo. They're all right, but I think they're a bit much, because if you notice, Koda Kumi's facial expression is not very strong, and because of that, it seems like she's kind of being like overshadowed by the flowers, at least the flowers that are on her head. And I think, speaking of her facial expression, I think that her facial expression could have been stronger in this photo. She would have been able to pull off this photo and this theme better, Well, at least the photo anyway. As far as the theme is concerned, the theme is basically mask or disguise, So she is, I'm assuming the theme is, again, mask or disguise. So she's supposed to have a photo that would play into that theme. But it doesn't seem like she's really playing into that theme at all. So again, when this happens, I usually just say, okay, is it a nice photo? Is the, if you don't pull off the theme, then at least have a nice photo. I think this photo is good. Not great, but good. I think that it could have been better. I think that it could have been better. Also, I think that they might have over photoshopped this photo a little bit, because it looks like Koda Kumi doesn't have an armpit at all. It looks almost like, kind of like they photoshopped her armpit off of her. And I think that's a bit much. A bit too much Photoshop there. Let's see. Her body positioning, it looks odd. A little odd. She probably would have been better off putting her hands on her hips. But I guess that, the photo would not have been able to capture that as well. Capture that, hands on the hips pose well enough to pull it off in a photo, perhaps. Because if you notice, like, the photo here is like more along the lines of a beauty shot. It's not quite a beauty shot, but it's more along the lines of a beauty shot, because it's just concentrated on her the upper portion of her body. Let's see. Koda Kumi's earrings. It looks like she has on like some shell earrings, perhaps. I think that's a pretty cool touch. Um, her coconut bra, that's interesting. A bit stereotypical, but it's interesting. You know, it has a shine on it though, so it's not like a real coconut. Like it's not like a real coconut split into two and turned into a bra. They probably should have removed that glare from it to make it look a bit more authentic. Let's see. Koda Kumi's eyes, again, it could have had some more life. Um, let's see. Her hands in this photo look odd. Look at her hands. It looks like, look like they just doing their own thing. Her hands are just in a photo all of their own. I don't know what they posing for, but it ain't good. It doesn't look good. Um, Her nails were a nice touch, though. I'll say that. Um, let's see. If you notice around her back, it looks like her hair is really long. I thought her hair was more like, a bob, kind of like a short haircut. But I noticed that, her hair is really long here. And I just think that's kind of interesting and worth pointing out. Um, Um, I don't think I think I pretty much said pretty much all I have to say. I think it's a good photo. It's all right, but there's room for improvement. And I think Koda Kumi could have done a better job. Again, just straighten up the body positioning and had a better facial expression. And that would have brought the quality of this photo up. But again, it's just my opinion. Feel free to tell me your opinion about this photo. Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Feel free to let me know. As well, feel free to comment. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to give me a thumbs up. The support is always appreciated. Until the next photo analysis, adios and goodbye for now. Oh yeah, one more thing I'd like to add. If you notice, Koda Kumi, she's not wearing a lot in this photo, but I think she's pulling it off really well. It doesn't come off as like, skanky here. It comes off as, it's just a bit more kind of like, okay, this is just, my body and it's a work of art versus, this is my body and isn't hot. Look at it. So I give Koda Kumi some props for that because she's, you know, the skank factor here, is really low, and sometimes, when kind of like a woman doesn't have on clothes or a certain amount of clothing, sometimes it can look kind of skanky depending on, the way she looks, the way she pulls it off. But I think Koda Kumi, she pulls it off well here. It just comes off as, just natural, really it comes up as more along the lines of like more wholesome. So again, I give Koda Kumi her props for that. So again, thanks for listening to my photo analysis. Until the next analysis, adios and goodbye for now.